Kate.
Express yourself, that thing you're good at. Say it with your business. With a range of benefits to help companies scale and a dedicated account manager, Tide is there to help businesses find their voice and make it louder. Sign up for a
Welcome back. We're going to cross now to Sky News for an announcement about Her Majesty the Queen.
Now, if you're joining us, this was the news in the last few moments. Buckingham Palace has announced that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has died. Our royal correspondent, Rhiannon Mills, joins me now. Rhiannon, your thoughts?
So it has just been confirmed via social media, their website, in which the royal family have said the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon. They add the King and the Queen Consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. This will clearly come as devastating news for the royal family and millions of people across the United Kingdom and around the world. Queen Elizabeth II was a much-loved and respected monarch and a truly unique figure on the world stage, a head of state without equal, admired not just here in the United Kingdom, but across the globe by members of the public, politicians and religious leaders. Many of us will simply not remember a time when she wasn't our head of state, and she was a constant figure in every aspect of national life. From becoming Queen when she was only 25, she then went on to become Britain's longest reigning monarch and displayed this unwavering commitment to her country and her Commonwealth throughout what was a truly record-breaking reign. Now, her dedication to that constitutional role was never questioned, but for her family were just as important to her as a devoted wife, mother, grandmother and great-grandmother. And their admiration for her was always so clearly seen when she was surrounded by her family, when we saw those moments of great national celebration and reflection. It's worth saying that for many, her reign will forever be defined by what was a selfless sense of duty. But it wasn't about her own personal power, privilege or entitlement. This was a role that she felt that she was born to fulfill. Her quiet and restrained demeanour was always guiding her family and the United Kingdom through what was an extraordinary period of social and political change. But throughout all of that, she was always conscious of keeping the monarchy relevant. And while respecting as well and upholding important traditions, she often showed this adaptability that many will now credit with securing the future of the institution. It is worth saying that her old age really should not detract from the enormity of this news and the huge constitutional change that her death now brings. For nearly 70 years, she was this symbol of stability and continuity, and for so many, always a figure of national pride who really embodied those values of public service and duty well into her 90s, and as we saw this week, until the very end. Now, the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth realms will witness a period of reflection and constitutional change which many of us will never have experienced in our lifetime, as we now mourn the death of Queen Elizabeth II and witness the succession of her son as the new king.
And Rhiannon, we last saw Her Majesty the Queen in public, of course, just 2 days ago when she asked Liz Truss to form her government, to become her 15th Prime Minister.
It was remarkable. We saw, until the end really, that determination to simply carry on with her constitutional duties. And no, she wasn't able to travel down to London to appoint her 15th Prime Minister, as she had done with all of her other Prime Ministers throughout her 70-year reign. But she wanted to make sure that she was seen by members of the public to be continuing on with those constitutional duties. And we saw that in practice there, the Queen reaching her hand out to appoint Liz Truss as her 15th Prime Minister. I think that is why this announcement of her death will be such a shock to so many. But over the last 12 months, there is no doubt that we have seen a gradual slowing down, a gradual change in the duties that she felt that she was able to carry out. I think it was important for her to be seen to carry out that handover of power between prime ministers, because we hadn't seen her in public for quite a long time. She'd obviously travelled up to Scotland where she was enjoying her summer break. Previously, the last time that we saw her was when she visited a hospice accompanied by Princess Anne, and that was in July. And we saw with her, she was there once again carrying that stick, because we know over the last 12 months she was having difficulty with her mobility. The palace often describing it as episodic mobility problems, which did mean that sometimes she wasn't able to attend certain engagements. But I think what was striking there is to see Princess Anne alongside her. And that has been a theme that we have witnessed right throughout the last 12 months, is the family being there to make sure that when she felt she was able to go out and meet the public, as she has done, as she did right throughout her 70-year reign, they could support her and they could be there in any way that they needed her. And of course, we had the Platinum Jubilee just months ago, the first British monarch to ever mark that remarkable milestone. And we were wondering around that weekend how much we would be able to see her because of the difficulties that she'd been having. But I think you could see that she wanted to make that effort. She knew the crowds once again had come out to mark that milestone moment with her. But also that Platinum Jubilee was so central in the Queen showing her wishes for the future. There alongside her were those central key members of the royal family that she knew she was passing on those responsibilities to. The Prince of Wales, the Duchess of Cornwall, the Prince of Wales, it has to be said, now our new king, and to the other side of her, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and their 3 children. In those images, there was a very clear message from the Queen, a sense of future-proofing the monarchy, as she did right throughout those 7 decades, saying, this is my family, who I love very much, who I trust, who have shown already how committed they are to you, the public, how committed they are to the country and the Commonwealth, and you should trust them when it comes to me stepping back from my responsibilities. Today, of course, though, the family will be around her. They have all travelled to Balmoral to be alongside her as now we mark her death.
Just to repeat that statement released a short time ago by Buckingham Palace, that the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon. The King and the Queen Consort will remain at Balmoral this evening and will return to London tomorrow. And Rhiannon Mills, our royal correspondent, is still with us. And of